Welcome to episode 31 of Curious Conversations, car edition.
31 car edition. Yeah, we wanted to go to our spot in Botanic Gardens, but there was a wild jibal sitting at the bench, so we couldn't really tie him in. But actually, do you know what? See, you think about it, we probably could have got him on the pod. We could have got our latest guest, some mad wild jibal.
Yeah, we waited for 15-20 minutes there.
He wasn't moving. He's been there for 8 days.
Yeah. Today we've got a couple of topics, a couple of things we want to talk about, mainly stemming from the book that Aidan's reading, Ego is the Enemy, and I've read it in the past, probably I would say about 4 years ago now, to be honest. However, Aidan's speaking about things about it and relaying the information to me, and things are starting to come about that I remember, but I'm going to definitely be reading that again. I've started the audiobook, but I want to read it in a little bit more depth again, because I'm at a completely different point in my life compared to where I read it last time, so it'll be interesting to read and go over. But I've got a couple of kind of subtopics within it. We want to chat about ego and like how it kind of drips into your whole life and how it can affect your whole life. Yeah. Do you want to actually talk first about what ego is to you?
Ego for me, like, I never actually truly knew what ego was until I actually started reading this book, to be honest. Like, of course, everyone knows what ego is. Like, ego is like basically thinking you're the man, thinking that you are, like, you're basically, you don't need to learn. Is the way I look at ego is like people who don't think they need to learn, or don't think that they can get better at things, or they think that they are God's gift. Like, that is what ego is. And to me, obviously, there's definitely a better way of explaining what ego genuinely is, but like, from reading this book, it's allowed me to understand the way I've been allowing ego to, like, revolve around my life, and it stopped me from doing a lot of things, and I hadn't really realised that until now, to be honest. It's like, a lot of the times what I've found is I've been reacting to certain things and looking to get validation and almost thinking I was the finished product, and not allowing myself to learn in certain situations because I thought I was competent enough to not take on any, like, information or any criticism or any feedback. And I feel like that's what ego is. Ego doesn't allow you to learn. Ego doesn't allow you to understand that you can grow more and more every single day, no matter what type of person you're. And I think there's levels to it. There's levels to it as you go on in life. Like for a business owner, like business owners, like people in sport, things like that. Like, it will come in all different shapes and sizes, but it is something that can really derail your whole entire career / life if you let it. So the more and more I learn about it, the more and more I understand how to deal with it, how to approach ego, because realistically it's like inevitable. Like, no one's got zero ego at all times, and it's just about being able to manage it and understand when it creeps into your life, and that's what the book is basically allowing me to do.
Yeah, it's allowing things to come into your awareness about ego. So ego, yeah, like try to put it into an analogy, is like a part of your brain. So you've got two different people who talk in your brain. If you'll probably understand that you can literally have a conversation with yourself in your head, and it can be one going against the other. And it's like, sometimes people describe it as the angel and the devil on your shoulder, and ego is the devil on your shoulder, keeping you safe, keeping you not pushing outside your comfort zone, keeping you stopping you from learning things, and you don't actually realise how much it comes into your life and how repetitive your behaviour patterns are until you get checked on it, and until you become aware of it, which I think reading definitely does, because it allows you to look at things in a different perspective. That's really what reading is. It's just allowing other people's thoughts to come and perspectives to come into your brain through words, and that's why I recommend it as probably my number one habit to start and to implement into your life. Let's talk a little bit about the validation and praise piece that you mentioned a little touch there, but I know you've been thinking quite a lot on it about it.
Yeah, totally. It's like it's really opened my eyes to, as I say, like the way ego was affecting everything that I was doing in my life. Like a lot of the time, I was really just kind of doing things for validation and validation and praise and like getting recognition and almost feeling like I was like important. Like I needed that, I seeked that, and I feel like a lot of people seek that, and it's like we talk about it quite a lot when it comes to like hunter-gatherer stuff. If you get that validation, if you get that kind of praise, then you are wanted as a person. And I don't want to get heavy deep here, I know we always tend to do, but the way I've found like the whole validation, recognition, like you see so many people that are hyper fixated over like getting that approval or that recognition, and it stems like way deeper than just like what they are today, and what their personality is today. Like when you are younger, like say for example you didn't get a lot of attention as a young child, or you maybe where you got bullied, you got kind of, you were the outcast of the group or in certain groups. As you grow older, you don't want to feel that feeling. Your brain tells you, I don't want to feel like that, so I'm going to do everything I possibly can to show people that I deserve this validation, I deserve this kind of praise, and I am worthy of having that. And that's where ego comes from, that's where ego stems from, and that's what I found in myself. Like there was times in my little young life where I maybe didn't get the attention that I was looking for, or I wasn't like the most popular person, or I didn't get like massive recognition when I was a young kid, and there was times where I felt left out, and that's basically what it stems from, and that's what I'm realising from reading this book is like that's the younger person in me just wanting to feel important. And that is so cool to me. Like I don't feel like sad or like upset about talking about that. It's like my eyes have been opened, and it's like a massive realization for me, and that just means I can let that go, because I speak about it all the time as well. Like that awareness piece of being aware of why you're doing certain things is going to allow you to recognize them more, and then in turn allow you to not be that person that you don't want to be. So yeah, that's where kind of ego and like the chase of validation, and like almost show off type of like mentality stems from.
Yeah, like I always remember, can't remember who it even was, on a podcast talking about that we are just our younger selves in an adult body. Like we learn these stories when we're younger. So, like say for example, you're 6 years old and a situation happens, like a big situation where you are left out, and you automatically have that in your head as a story. You make that story up. Or I'm left out here. That means that I'm not enough. That means that
Yeah, I
I'm
don't
this.
deserve this.
I don't
I
deserve
know
it.
exactly what podcast you're talking about, because it's the podcast that I got that what I just said from, and
Yeah.
it was the Higher Up Wellness one.
Oh, okay, yeah. And you automatically tell yourself that story, and you don't realise it is like far back into your brain, like it's rewired in your head. But it's just about thinking about that, and you might not even remember the story as such. It might come up at a later point in life, but you automatically think that. So again, it comes from a belief, a story in your head, which is always malleable as well. It's always you're always able to change these stories and rewire them.
That's
But
so
again, it
hard
takes time.
for, sorry to cut you off, that's so hard for people to understand as well though. Like that is insane awareness needed. That like you need some insane awareness to be able to understand that that's why your personality is so like egoic and egotistical. So bringing this up and allowing people to understand, like it gives people listening to this an opportunity to think to yourself like, where am I where have I got these kind of traits, and then it allows you to dissect it, understand that you're doing that, and then try and take it out of your personality.
Your personality is your personal
Bro,
reality.
You said it.
That's Mr. No, in fact,
In
it's
Glasgow.
it's Doctor, isn't it? Dr. Joe Dispenza.
Yeah.
Okay, understanding how small you are in relation to everything. Now we this ties back to ego as well, and how it always stems back to us. So it's similar to a victim mentality of the world is happening to me rather than I am happening to the world. And it's like someone saying, oh, they cut me off in traffic, so that means, and then they automatically place the story on themselves that they done that to annoy me.
Yeah.
That person is in a hurry.
Yeah.
That is why they've cut you off in traffic. But the ego mind will be like, oh my god, they've done that to piss me off. And then automatically you get that emotion. You can take it into the whole rest of your day. You can, you know yourself, you can be in a wound up mood the whole day because one little thing has happened to you. But usually that's stemming from ego keeping you in that position.
Yeah.
But the thing I always think of when ever this comes up of how small you are in comparison to things is, you ever seen the video that it's like a person and then it zooms out.
Yeah.
It zooms out to the neighbourhood, then the city, then the country,
Aye.
and then the continent, the world, and then it goes way beyond that. It goes Earth, it shows you the Milky Way we're in?
Yeah.
Milky Way, the sun,
Aye.
all that, and then it shows you the galaxy we're in, and it's
Yeah.
just millions upon millions upon millions, and the actual size. And when actually we look at that, and it puts it in a perspective of how tiny we are and how
Yeah.
how our problems don't
it's
really matter.
It's so funny as well because that is like a proper joke. See, when you see that video, I do laugh to myself
Yeah.
as well. But it's so true.
Yeah.
You think that, if you think, there's so many people out there that think they're the main character, and they think that they're so important, and everybody's caring about them, and I don't know about anyone else, don't know about you, but I used to feel like that. I used to feel like I was the main character. I was special. I was the chosen one almost, and it's you're not. It's not anything to do with that. You're not the chosen one. You're not. It's just a string of good luck and a little bit of persistence and a little bit of work. Do you know what I mean? And maybe you having a really good personality that people can bounce off of. That's what it's down to. And the more and more you start to understand it, you're so small in the grand scheme of things. It's when, for example, when you're walking, you're at a walk, you're walking past people, and you might think to yourself, you look at that person, you might think, oh, they're thinking about me, or they're looking at me, they must be saying things in their head about me. You're that's so not true. Everyone's so focused on themselves and just always thinking about their issues and their problems, and the sooner you understand that, the better, I think, because you can really get in your head about things like that. I've had friends that have had situations where they've really been thinking that people have been thinking about them, and it's just you get caught in a rabbit hole of just thinking that you're so important, and in actual fact you're not, with respect in saying that, you're not, and the sooner you understand that, it's freeing almost.
Yeah.
Having that feeling of wow, actually I'm not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
And it's good. I feel great when I think like that.
It's so good to have the reminder as well, though. I've been thinking about this lately with things that I was going through with my mental performance coach, things that I overcame and went into on a deep level, and you always need to be reminded of things like this. Even just talking just now, it's bring me back to things that I spoke about with Charlotte, and it's I've forgot about that stuff, and I felt like I worked through it and I got over it, but there's still so many things in my life where I will still think that way.
Because that's the way you want to think about it. It's always just having that reminder in life, whether you're like when it comes to like learning about things. And I know we're going to come on to
Yes.
the next thing that is be a student.
Yeah.
But when it comes to like learning things, it's all about just like rehearsal over again. It's like reminding yourself every single time, because you'll learn about a certain thing, you'll like be really fixed on that, that will be fresh in your brain, and then you'll move on to the next thing that you're learning about, and then you might forget those certain things, and it's just about getting the opportunity to like have that refresher in your head, and bring it back to what you've been learning about, depending on what topic it is. Do you know what I mean?
Then it segues into the
Perfectly.
perfectly into the next topic of being a student. And obviously this is something we speak about a lot, with curiosity being one of the main like values and things we speak about. And we were talking earlier about how you can literally learn from every single person. Every single person in the world has something that you can learn from, and a lesson that they've learned. Even when your ego brain's probably telling you that you don't, that you definitely do. And again, we speak about it a lot, of constantly trying to upskill yourself, constantly trying to look into other people, because we chat about like before this podcast, of how can you not read or learn from someone who is better at you at something, and has put way more years into it, has written a book about it. Like, books can take 5, 10, a lifetime, like in terms of how long it takes to write. And if you're switching out that, and you're like scrolling or doing whatever instead, then it'd be good to take a step back, even if it is for 10 minutes a day, and start reading, and start looking at books of people who have lived a full life and given all their lessons for what, a fiver, like,
Yeah.
to anyone to read.
I totally agree. I think that, don't get me wrong, I'm not someone who's read like fucking so many books. I'm just getting into it, but it's probably the best thing, the best habit that I've got just now. And I think that I'll ever have, to be honest, because I'm allowing myself to like consistently learn every single day. When I pick up the book, I'm learning more and more and more about myself, about the certain topic, and I think that you're stunting your growth if you're not learning. Like you're stunting your growth if you're not learning or reading books or anything like that. I genuinely do believe that, and it allows you to just kind of have that clear mind. And it goes back to like the whole be a student. It's be a student, but also remain a student. When it comes to like, it's so easy to start off a student, and I feel like this is where people struggle to kind of differentiate between be a student and remain a student. So if I start my career, it's so easy for me to learn and pull things from certain people and like try and get better. But as you go on, as you get more competent, that's when the ego is gonna get bigger, and it's gonna be harder to bring yourself back down to baseline and remain that student. Because if you think about it, you'll be telling yourself, your ego will be telling you, I'm competent enough, I know exactly what I'm talking about, I know what I'm doing here, like I don't need to ask that person, like I've got more experience than them, they can't help me in any way. That's just your ego feeding that, and realistically that's going to get you absolutely nowhere having that mindset. So yeah, of course, be a student, but the main key point when we talk about this is remain a student, because it's like almost that white belt mentality. Always have the approach when you're speaking to like anyone, be willing to learn from. It doesn't matter who it is, you can literally learn from children. Like we spoke about this in the podcast last week. Like, look at the way kids play outside. Like, they're having the best time. They're not caught up on anything else bar kicking the football or playing tag. And that's one thing that I've taken. That's probably my favourite chapter when it comes to ego is the enemy. Is like, be a student and remain a student. I could speak about this all day, but it's something that is so important. And you could, I genuinely believe that you can learn from anyone, and it could be your enemies. You can learn from your enemies, and if you're not learning, then you're already dying. And it sounds deep, but think about it. It's true.
I like that. If you're not learning, you're dying.
It's facts. It's straight from the book.
Your ego mind was about to take that.
My ego mind was telling me to take all credit for that. Let's go back up. Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that you made a good point about when people get to the top as well, and what happens when you get to the top.
Love this. So, this was the chapter I read this morning, and it's like I read it twice so it could really stick in my head. And it was the last chapter of like the kind of block of the book. There's like 3 parts of the book. So this is like the second part, and it was the last bit. And it basically speaks about how when you get to a certain point, say for example, like you're a business owner or you are a sports person or something like that, and you get to the very top, like you genuinely feel before you're there, you feel like, okay, once I get here, everything's going to be easy and everything's going to be fine, and I'm going to like almost like feel accomplished and feel like I can be fully fulfilled. But in reality, it's not that at all. It's harder to deal with that because that's when your ego is so ripe. It's like it's the hardest because once you're at the top, it's not about going to the top and then that's it achieved. You need to be able to stay at the top and be able to push on that, and that's what creates greats from like people who are just good at things. You need to understand that you're going to have so much adversity and failures that you need to deal with, but when you're at the top, it's like being ready for that and understanding that, again, remain a student, be able to learn and be able to attack these certain adversities or situations with like an open mind and not allow yourself to crumble under the pressure. And if you have been approaching your full journey, whether that is through business or it is through sport, with an ego mindset, then most likely you're going to crumble once you get to that difficult point. And that's why being aware of it, that's why the chapter is there, because it allows you to understand that when you get to that point, you need to remain that student, you need to remain that person who's got the white belt around their waist. So yeah, that was what the last chapter was about, and it hit this morning. It hit.
Yeah, a great analogy for this, and it's just popped into my mind, is like if you're a gardener, right? If you're a gardener and you've got this beautiful garden, you've spent years like watering the plants, planting the seeds, doing all this, and it sprouts to have this beautiful garden. If you don't continue to water the plants, they're going to die, and all the things that you've done beforehand to get it to that place are pointless. And it's the exact same in that situation. When you get to that point, you stop doing the things that got you to there, and you stop learning. So because you automatically are at that point, so you automatically start to die.
Amazing. That's such a good analogy, and it actually brings another part of like another analogy that I've been thinking about that we spoke about beforehand, and it's basically Bill Walsh, the manager of the 49ers, the American football team. So he picked the 49ers up when they were like probably the most dog shit American football team at that time, and he done a season with them. They were failing still, and when he came into the 49ers, it wasn't like this crazy massive change, but he looked at all the small details and made like a lot of specific changes to what they do to allow them to build up and then eventually win the Super Bowl. And the little small changes was like the coaches must wear a suit and tie, the changing rooms must be really tidy, no one can sit about the training ground. And when the 49ers won the Super Bowl, so basically this goes back to the whole, once you get to the top, you need to make sure that you're ready for the top so you can then maintain it. Once the 49ers won the Super Bowl, there was a lot of the players that really couldn't deal with the fame. They were getting so much more media praise, they were getting more money, they were getting invited to more things because they just won probably one of the biggest, most prestigious trophies you can get in sport. And what you found the next season, I bet everyone that's listening to this can guess what happened. they started to decline. And that's because a lot of the players weren't ready to deal with that success of like they were in that mindset, that egoic mindset of thinking to themselves, I am the man, I am the best, I've learned it all, I've done this, I don't need to achieve anymore, no one can teach me anything. And that is all ego, and it's so funny to see, like you can literally see it in front of you. That's all mentality there. And as I was speaking about in terms of the last chapter of that book, that's all it is being ready for like, when you get to the top, and remaining like remaining not like remaining that white belt mentality, and that's what that is basically. And then as they started to understand that that's what was happening, so someone, Bill Walsh or someone that he had working for him, allowed them to understand that. Once they understood that, they started to pick it up more, and that's all it takes.
Yeah,
Genuinely.
I love that, and I think that like brings it all around, like all around ego. I think we've went into a good bit of depth as to what it is,
Yeah.
how it can show up in your life, and hopefully it creates a little bit of awareness where you can, whoever's listening can think, right, where in my life am I not learning right now? Where in my life am I refusing to take a lesson on board because my brain is getting in the way?
Yeah.
Because I know there's hundreds of things in my life where that's happening to me. You're probably the same.
Yeah.
And everyone will be the same, no matter what your level is, no matter how aware you are. There'll be things that are getting in your way on a daily basis that you've just not learned to overcome because your ego's telling you that you can't. Let's talk about our egos with high rocks. This is what we're going to segue into to finish with.
Because it ties in.
Yeah.
It does tie in, and it ties into kind of what we were speaking about last podcast as well.
Absolutely. We're now 3 weeks out of High Rocks Oslo at the moment in time of recording this, and we're going into it with a completely different mindset than we did. How many weeks ago is that now? We're 16 weeks after Cardiff.
I think about 17, 16.
So we're 13 weeks ago, so about 3 months ago, we competed at High Rocks Cardiff, and we've documented the process because we've got a podcast on it that we can go back and listen to, where we actually speak on the podcast. Like we were at a point where like loads of people were asking us, what time do you think you're going to get? Would you do this? Would you do that? And even on that podcast, we said like, right, we're going to go for this time. Like we even guessed the time that we thought we were going to get. Embarrassing.
So funny, man.
But like it's funny because we have really like flipped the switch on this and learned the lesson with that exact thing, that we're going into this with a completely different structure of thinking about it. Now, we spoke on the last podcast about process over outcome, and in Cardiff we were completely outcome based.
Yeah.
Like completely outcome based, where even on the run up to it during training we were speaking a lot about, right, we want to get this time, we want to do this.
Yeah, and if we do this certain split at this certain time, we'll get this time.
Yep. And like we broke down like every run, every station, like how that was going to look, like what time we had to get, and it never worked out for us. Like we never got the time that we wanted, and off the back of it as well, we weren't particularly, we went away with a license to take, definitely, and we've learned that over the past 3 months.
I think it is fair to say that we weren't happy coming away from it.
Yeah.
I think it is fair to say that, and it just goes to show it's like the perfect example of outcome thought process and process thought process, because when you're trying to predict that time, you're trying to because it's again going back to the whole ego thing. It's like ego driven. Like you want to get that particular time because you want to show people like how good you are at a certain thing.
Yeah.
And it's like, why does that even matter?
Yeah.
That's the way I'm thinking about it now. Is like, why does that even matter that you're going for this time? Like, for me just now, and obviously for you, I think that it's such a different mindset shift. Like, it's such a different thought process. All I'm thinking about, I'm not thinking about the time, I'm just thinking about what I can do today that's going to benefit me within the long run. Do you know what I mean? It's like expanding your time horizons.
Yeah.
Something that I've been thinking about quite a lot as well. Like, everyone wants it yesterday, and that's what I said to you when we were coming down here. Like, everyone wants it instantly because we're in like an instant gratification world nowadays. So it's like it's so easy to become mentally strong because a lot of people aren't in this day and age. So yeah, I'm excited, but I'm also detached from the outcome. Like, we've been listening to a lot of Sip Drake recently, and he's been speaking about like the whole process and stuff like that, and being detached from the outcome.
Yeah.
Like, I can genuinely say wholeheartedly, if we weren't to get a time that we were happy with or anything, it doesn't bother me at all.
Yeah.
It won't bother me whatsoever because I'm detached from the outcome. All I can do is put my best foot forward and give everything I've got to the sessions that I need to do to get me closer and to get me where I want to be in the future. And it's like, as I say, expanding those time horizons. It's not Oslo. Yeah, I spoke about this actually last time. It's like no goals. It's just sub goals. We go there, we do as much as we possibly can. We get a certain outcome, like the outcome happens, we finish the race, and then we move on. And then that's the way we need to approach it. And I think that it's more crucial as well because we've got 3 events that weekend. So we've not got any time to be not happy about the time. There's no time to mope about and sit about. I don't think me and Anton are the type of people who do that anyway. But definitely in Cardiff, it was night and day compared to how our mindset is just now.
Yeah. And when you zoom out in that situation, say for example we were just doing one event and me, Aidan and Fraz are going over to Oslo, you're going away with your best pals for a weekend to compete in something, and you're going to let a particular number of a race make you hate that weekend and affect the rest of it. Say for example we go on the Saturday, so we're going on the Saturday, we're competing on the Saturday, and then we're going home Monday night. We would let that, our ego mind would let us have that Sunday and Monday like all in our head, being like, I can't believe I didn't get that time. And you would think about it constantly, like throughout that time. I know that I would have in the past as well, but detaching yourself from it fully just makes you really understand that like it's not that deep, and it's just like it is just a part of the process. And if you do zoom out and think longer term, it's like, right, what lesson can I take to get better next time?
Exactly what I was just about to say. It's like allowing you to understand that there is a bigger picture, and this isn't the end, and it's just the start. Basically, like, that's one thing that I've found myself doing a lot. Like when I was younger, when I was like competing in sports, it was like it would ruin my day. It would almost ruin my week if I was to like I was speaking to you the other day about like having a bad session. Like, that would ruin my week.
Yeah.
If I had a bad session because I attached my value as a person to those particular like workouts or like my fitness levels, and that's one thing that you don't want to do. So yeah, my mindset is just focus on the process, don't allow emotion to creep in, and just focus on what you can control.
Yeah. Right, put all that aside, what time do you think we're going to get?
I reckon the world record 48.
We'll cut that bit out.
Yeah, cut.
Yeah, so again, three weeks today, we are 3 weeks out. We will do
once we're
a preview, and we'll do a recap again, because we do want to still document that, and it's obviously a big part of what we do on a daily basis. We've been training hard for this, we've been putting in a lot of work, and I'm actually very excited to go out and test ourselves, push ourselves, put one foot in front of the other, and see what we can do.
Yeah, it's going to be an amazing trip. Like, me, you and Fraz
Yeah.
It's going to be such a good time, and obviously we get the opportunity to do the relay as well on the Sunday night, which I'm buzzing about. That's the main emotion for me, is just excitement. Like, I'm just excited to be with you guys and just kind of take in the High Rocks vibe, because it's always a really exciting vibe once you go into the venue and stuff like that. You see all the kind of expo and shit like that. So I cannot wait. We've been working hard, so
100%. I'm going to
Go out
vlog it
there,
again
have a good
as
time.
well, like we did in Warsaw.
No tortilla. The airport.
Yeah, no tortilla this time.
No tortilla.
Strictly bagels.
Yes. Amazing.
Right, guys, we're going to cut that there. Thank you again for listening. We appreciate you all massively. We appreciate the shares, the comments, the likes, everything. Or is that the likes? Is that the ego brain?
That's the ego brain, bro. That's validation.
But if you took anything away from this, and I hope you do. I hope there's a little bit of awareness piece of asking yourself, right, maybe there is something that I'm not quite getting here, that my ego is holding me back from. If you had that realization moment with something, then share it with a friend who it would help with. That would be amazing. It would be also, it's exactly how this grows, how we get our word out to more people, so we would appreciate it massively.
Yeah, I see this all the time as well. Like, after the podcasts, if you did take anything away from it, and you do have like a more in-depth questions, then please send us over a little message, and we can kind of speak about it, because I love speaking about these things. It allows me to learn about more about myself. It allows us to learn as a group of people, and just means everyone's kind of getting better. So that's the main thing. Obviously, document our journey when it comes to like self-improvement, getting better at what we want to get better at, but also like help people along the way. So yeah, I appreciate everyone's listens and stuff like that, and it's sick.
Amazing. See you all in the next one.
Love that. Thank you.